You probably want to know how I got to Veta.
Yep.
And I'm an artist. All of the paintings that you see in here are my work. And I came meeting some friends, artist friends from Denver, many years ago, probably 15 years ago. And that's when I first discovered Veta. I had never heard of it before. But I started showing my art at the Space Gallery here in Veta. So I would come back and forth to get paintings and bring them and pick them up, and fell more and more in love with Veta. And I moved here in 2013. My husband had passed away in 2011, and it was all very serendipitous, but it's just a magnet for creative people. It's just a wonderful town for the size that it is. And I just felt like I wanted to step back in time. I lived in Santa Fe for 22 years, and it was getting overgrown and too fancy and too expensive, and so I came to Veta and love living here. The sense of community we have here is just pretty amazing, and it's a mixture of different types of people. I have friends among those who were born here and grew up here, and I have a lot of friends of people like your grandmother who were drawn to Veta. Everyone says when they drive through Veta they fall in love with it, so that's kind of a typical reaction for people coming from somewhere else. So that's how I got here as an artist.
What would you say your best, or the best feature of Veta is? What's the best thing about it?
The library, I think, is the soul of Veta. It's an amazing, it was rated one of the top library in the country for the size of Veta at one time. And they have all these wonderful programs that bring people from different walks of life, and anything you want, book, DVD, whatever, they can get for you through the program of all the other libraries work together. So if they don't have it, they'll get it for you.
Who do you look up to?
That's an interesting question, which I looked at, and there have been so many people, you know. I'd say I look up to God, probably, and my daughter and my family, and that's how I would answer that, mostly.
And speaking of your daughter, can you tell me about your daughter or your family?
Sure. They were all here last weekend for my birthday. I had all my daughters. My daughter-in-law, my stepdaughter, and my granddaughter were all here, which was wonderful. My daughter still lives in New Mexico, and my son and his family live in the Vail area in Minturn, Colorado. And my stepdaughter and her husband, who lived in Connecticut all their lives, just moved to Santa Fe last fall, so it's nice to have them nearby. And I have lived all over. I was born in Little Rock, Arkansas. When I was 11, we moved to Virginia. I went to college in Atlanta, to Agnes Scott College. My children were born in Atlanta. And we moved to Connecticut, to New England, and lived there for several years, and then moved to Evergreen, Colorado. And then I went back to Connecticut for 10 years and met and married my second husband. And then we moved to Santa Fe in 1991. So I've lived a lot of places, and I've been really blessed to live in wonderful places all along.
Do you have any favorites out of those?
Oh, goodness. You know, they've all had their special places in my heart. I love New England. I'm glad I don't live there anymore with the weather they have. It's been so nice here this winter. I loved Santa Fe. I taught and tutored at the Santa Fe Indian School for 20 years, and Indian culture has always been a real interest of mine. You'll see all the Indian stuff around here. And I was a concierge in Santa Fe, which was a really fun job because I met people, from all over the world. And it was amazing to me how 6 degrees of separation. You would, meet somebody who knew someone you had known or lived somewhere you had lived or whatever. So that was a wonderful experience. So I've really loved everywhere I've lived. I had a wonderful childhood in Little Rock, and Virginia was, that's where I was in high school. I know you've got some questions about high school too, and I think football was my favorite part of high school. We won the state championship during my senior year. And, I still have wonderful old friends that were my high school friends. We still keep up with each other. So that was a special time as well. And I've worn so many different hats in my life that I'm called Mini Hats. That's my Indian name I gave myself. But I've been a teacher. I was a realtor in Evergreen and in New England, and I specialized in 18th and 19th century houses when I was there. And then, as I said, when we moved to Santa Fe, I taught at the Indian school and was a concierge, and always throughout all this I've been an artist. So, as well as a wife and a mother and all of those usual things. Yeah.
Out of your jobs, did you have any favorites either?
Favorite job?
Yep.
Well, being a concierge was really fun. I was at the Bishop's Lodge, which is a wonderful old resort in the Santa Fe area, and it was just a wonderful experience to help people plan their trip and what they were going to do, and I tried to get them to make the most out of their experience, and I'd be frustrated if they wanted to know where the outlet stores were, and I wanted them to go to Bandelier National Monument or go to the Indian dances and things like that, which I would try to guide them towards. So probably that was my favorite, doing that.
Yeah.
And then when I moved to Levita, I pretty much retired, but I still had the concierge job, and I was here one weekend to pick up paintings, and there was an ad in the paper for this wonderful rental here. And it was kind of serendipitous because I had to make all these decisions very quickly. And that was in August. And by September 1st, I was on my way to Levita. So
awesome, yeah.
It happened pretty quickly. When I first lived here, I was on Garland, and I was just kind of around the corner from where your grandmother first lived when she moved here. And I've been in this place for almost 2 years, and I love living on the river. It's really wonderful. You can hear it at night in the summer, So I'm pretty happy here.
Have you wanted to go anywhere else for traveling purposes?
I know you have that question on there, and really and truly, I have been just about everywhere that I've wanted to go. I've been to Ireland and France and Germany and Switzerland and Austria and Greece through the years. And one of the things on my bucket list for a long time was wanting to do a safari in Africa.
Oh, yeah.
But I kind of lost interest in that because it's a lot harder for me to get around now, and I think you have to be pretty physically fit to do those trips. And I'm really pretty content to stay where I am.
Yeah. Are you looking forward to anything in the next year around here?
Being pain-free would be a big step because I've had a hard time with my back and walking for several months, but it's a lot better now because I had a treatment on Tuesday that made a big difference. So,
awesome. Glad to hear it.
I don't know but I'm at a stage in my life where there's a whole lot ahead that I haven't done that
Mhm.
I wanted. It's kind of like I've been there and done that, and
Mhm.
I read a lot, and I'm still painting,
Awesome.
and I love the movies. My birthday was Sunday, and we had an Oscar party in conjunction with
That's
that
awesome.
on Sunday. That was fun.
Do you think there are any issues with a generation gap between yours and mine, perhaps? Or do you think there are any issues that mine has that
Well, I
should
think
be fixed?
I worry that your generation is going to end up not really reading books, or because everyone is so focused on that iPhone all the time.
Yeah.
And I have one. I like it, but I just the world is such a different place right now. I think it must be more difficult to be a teenager than when I was growing up, or even when my kids, with all the things that are going on in the world and terrorism and what have you. How do you all feel about it? Do you feel pretty positive about all these things, or
I try
you
to
just take one
to
day at
avoid
a
it, yeah.
time?
Yeah.
That's kind of my mantra. I live one day at a time. I had a little map that said live one day at a time and make it a masterpiece, you know.
Yeah.
So I kind of live in the moment, really.
That's awesome.
But I just had the three little girls who live next door. One's only 15 months, one's 3, and one's 6. And they love to come over here, so they came over and finished off the birthday cake. And I gave them the balloons, the other balloons, and I think they're using a picture of me with the girls reading to them on one of the Levita Village brochures.
That's the one that I made.
And I think Levita Village is, going to serve a real need in the community when it gets built. It'll be wonderful for people to be able to have that right here and be able to walk into town and stay at home, so to speak.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good thing.
How do you think that'll benefit you and or the community, do you think?
Well, I'm very independent, so until I have to go to a place like that, I probably wouldn't. But I'm glad to know that it's going to be there if I need it, and that I'll have friends there and, be familiar with the place and all. But I think it'll fill a real need in Levita. So hopefully they'll start construction soon.
Yeah.
Your grandmother's wonderful to, spearhead these projects and get them going and everything. Try to follow your dreams and follow your own path, and don't be deterred from things that you really want to do. And if you want to do them bad enough, you probably can. So I was an English major, so it's important to me that you don't lose sight of the importance of books and literature and all that sort of thing. It's such a fast-paced world now. I'm not so sure I think that the technological revolution was a good thing, even though I, have an iPhone and that sort of thing. I just sometimes think people lose sight of what's real and what really matters in life.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
What do you enjoy best about Levita?
I like the small town atmosphere. I like the fact that you can go to town, you can walk to town, it's safe. You always meet people you know. You can visit wherever you go. And people are helpful, because you do know the people who work in the businesses. And my oldest boy is the postmaster here, so I can always ask him questions, and that's what I like about it, besides the whole climate and everything.
All right. So if you had one word to describe the town, what would you say?
Friendly.
All right. Last interview, I made the mistake of having her elaborate on that.
Oh.
You see the flaw in there? Yeah. All right. So, How did you come to Veta?
I came to Veta 60 years ago, a little more. I married my husband when he was in the Navy, stationed on the West Coast, stationed in Oregon. And we moved to Gardner, where his father owned a mercantile store. And we lived there until he went to work for the federal government in predator animal control, and then we moved over here. And we bought this place in about 57 years ago. And I've been here ever since. That's how I ended up here.
Awesome. Alright, so who do you look up to in your own life?
In my own life,
Mm-hmm.
who do I look up to?
Mm-hmm.
God first of all,
Mm-hmm.
and then my children, my oldest boy and my daughter and my son.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say those are the ones that I would look up to.
Do you want to tell us a bit about them, actually, your kids?
Well, like I said, my oldest boy is a postmaster here, and he has been for a number of years. He's a very, very good Christian, and he's also serves on the town board. My daughter is a registered nurse. They live in Pueblo West, and she's administrator of a nursing home in Colorado Springs. The youngest boy lives in the Texas Panhandle, and he works for a company called MBR, which does a lot of restoration and repair and maintenance on big plants and that sort of thing.
Oh, awesome.
So,
And if you don't mind me asking, what's your relationship like with them? Do you talk to them often?
yes,
Mm-hmm.
my relationship is very good with all of them.
Mm-hmm.
We get along very well as a family.
Awesome.
And in fact, the whole family.
Mm-hmm.
My boy has 2 children.
Mm-hmm.
One has a restaurant in South Fork. One lives here, who is a nurse. And the daughter has 2 children. And the boy has 2 children. All of them have a boy and a girl.
Oh, awesome.
So, and I have 6 great-grandchildren.
Wow.
So, you know, we're a close family.
Mm-hmm. And do you talk to all of the grandkids and the great-grandkids and all your kids regularly, yeah?
Well, the great-grandchildren aren't really old enough for me to call and visit. They're, well, some of them are. The oldest one's 8.
Oh.
And 2 of them live here, 2 boys. And and I see them often, the one little boy about every day. And one of them is in school, so I don't.
Mhm.
And the boy I see every day because he has cattle down here and he
Oh.
feeds every day.
Mm-hmm.
And the others, no, I don't even get to see them too often because they're in school and,
Mm-hmm.
you know, so they don't get to come, and I don't travel by myself that far, so
Mm-hmm.
some of them are, like I said, in South Fork, some are in Phoenix, and so I don't. I see the one in Pueblo, which is a little baby,
Oh.
7, 8 months old, and so I see her a little more often.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Alright, so another question. How will the assisted living home that's being built help you out for the community?
Help me out personally.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, it won't,
Mm-hmm.
because my family has already told me they would be taking care of me. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't perceive I will ever have to move out of my home into assisted living.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as helping me in the community, I think it's a great thing to do and we need, because I've been involved in other community projects and I like to see people taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we do a lot for the arts and the young people in our county and area. There are a lot of programs, but we don't do very many for the elderly people, and I think it's going to be very important. I will enjoy going there as a volunteer when it's finished and visiting with the people and reading to them or writing letters or just visiting. You know, that's how it will help me.
All right. Now, do you want to tell us a bit about your life story? We have a couple sample questions if you want prompts, but where were you born? What school did you attend? Stuff like that.
I was born in a little town called Thompson Falls, Montana, and my mother moved from there to Oregon, where her family lived when I was little. And we lived, I was raised in Oregon then all my life, on the west side of the mountains in a town called Springfield. That's where I went to school. But I only went to the middle of my junior year, and then I married when I was 16. And came to Colorado after that. When my husband got out of the service, we were married in December, and he got out in April, and we came back to Colorado, he was raised here in Warfano County. And so we came back here, and that's where I've been.
Awesome.
I finished my school after we moved to Gardner, finished by correspondence, so I have a diploma and all that. But,
awesome.
so then after my children were raised, then I went to work for San Isabel Electric, which is the electric co-op here. Worked for them 23 years, and I retired 13 years ago.
Awesome.
So that's what I've been doing.
And have you traveled much?
Yes, I have. When Lavoie was alive, we went to Hawaii, and we went to Europe. And after he passed away, I went to Ireland. And then we've been to a lot of the parks, national parks. I've been back east and been in the south in Georgia. One of my grandsons is graduated from the Air Force Academy. So I went to Georgia when he got his pilot's license and all that kind of stuff. And so I've traveled. My brother lived in Georgia, so we visited him a couple of times.
Do you have any favorite places that you've traveled?
If I could go back to someplace again, I would like to spend a little more time in England, and I would like to see more of Ireland. My heritage is partly Irish.
Oh, awesome.
And I would love to go back there. That's a beautiful place to see.
Oh, definitely. All right, let's see. All right, what are you looking most forward to? In the next year, do you have anything that you're looking forward to?
This summer, I'm going back to Oregon again for my sister's memorial. My sister passed away just before Christmas last year, and so we didn't have her memorial then. So I'm going back to that and spend some time on the Oregon coast, which I love very much. I would spend a lot of time there. I love the ocean and the beach. And otherwise, I don't have any plans to go. I don't care to travel overseas now, especially at this time with so much going on. But I would get in the car and go somewhere if my kids said, let's go. So I've traveled with my daughter and her family a lot. And so she likes to travel, so I don't know where we might end up, but won't be very far.
Hey, traveling's traveling.
Yeah, I like to travel.
Right, do you have anything else you want to add? Do you have any personal insight for us?
The biggest gap I see is probably in the music line, and the lack of direct communication with people, because my generation were letter writers, and I know my son, when he went off to college, he says now, I guess I was a terrible son because I never called home. I said, well, the only phone was in the hallway in the dormitory, and we couldn't call him very often because nobody ever knew if he was there or not. And but we wrote letters and we sent the local newspapers and that sort of thing. And I think that the younger generation has lost a lot of the personal connection with their families. And that's not to say everyone, but a lot of them have. For one thing, the parents are too busy, and the children have a whole different schedule in their life, I guess. When I raised my family here, we used to go to all the basketball games the kids had, and my children didn't even play ball, but we did it to support a PTA. I was instrumental in starting the library here.
Oh, awesome.
And we just did things together. We didn't have money, so we fished and picnicked and camped, and the kids grew up loving to do that loving the outdoors, and so they still do that with their families. But I feel kind of bad for the younger children who don't ever get to be a part of that, especially the ones raised in the cities that don't have access to that. But as far as if they communicate, I don't think there's a big gap. I'm not a lover of the modern music, but my kids like it. Some of them do, and so that's. But I think that's really the main thing, is just the lack of communication, not only with children but with adults, married couples, and there's too much cell phone stuff and too much texting anymore instead of calling, and I think you need to call just to keep in touch personally with your family and talk to them instead of all the media stuff. But I know it's important, and I know we need it, and it does a lot of good, but I'm afraid it's stolen away some of the personal contact that we have, and I think that's sad, because we used to go to country dances and just have a good time, and now things are there's too much competition with the young people and friends, and liking this person or not liking that person. You grow up in go to small schools, and the kids like each other, and there are a few of them, and so they get along, and it's it would be very hard, I think, to go to a big school where people are so distant. But that's my old-fashioned way of thinking.
All right, so what is your favorite part of living here in La Veta?
Part here in La Veta? Oh, I think church. I love church, yes. And the people here. And I've got here, the environment is very beautiful. And it is really home. It's home, yes.
If you could describe the town in one word, how would you describe it?
Friendly.
Mm-hmm. Right. And how did you come to Levita? What drew you here?
I married.
Oh.
I married a young man that was from here. Of course, when we married, then we moved to Levita.
That's awesome. Who do you look up to in your own life?
In my life,
Mhm.
my mother.
How so?
She was a beautiful mother. I lost that.
I'll go get it. Go ahead.
Okay. Yes. Can you get by?
Yeah,
Can you get
yeah,
by?
I can.
Okay.
You keep talking.
Oh yeah, she was a lovely mother. She really was. Yes. I let Peggy. She wrote something so beautiful. I let Peggy read it. Shall I read just a portion of it?
It's a long. It's long, Eileen. You may
wow.
not want to read the whole thing.
Maybe just a few things. She says, "How would I spend my last hours on earth? My greatest interest in life are young girls. If I had certain foreknowledge that I would die tomorrow, I would spend the time speaking to young girls and their mothers among my relatives and friends and neighbors and so forth." She was a lovely lady. She really was. But she was my inspiration, my everything.
She sounds amazing. All right. So, can you tell me a bit about your family?
Oh, I can. My mother, of course, lived here in Veta, graduated from high school in 21. And about my mother, she loved young girls. And it says here that you want to know about my mother. Is that what you said?
Your family in general.
Okay, yes.
Tell them about your kids, Eileen.
Oh, I thought it was my...
Well, it can be both.
Everyone.
Everyone. Okay, well, gosh. Well, I was born in Walsenburg. I had a wonderful mother and father. My father was a policeman.
Oh, wow.
And my mother was always a scout leader, and she had the sub-deb girls, and she loved. So that's how I grew up in an environment like that. Then I met a young man, and from Levita, married him. And the interesting thing about that is my mother is from here.
Oh.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, she graduated from high school in 21. And so I married Walt, and we had a lovely family, a boy and a girl. And my daughter lives in New Zealand. My son in Pueblo, he has a master's degree in divinity. He was a minister. And also an agronomist like Jim. And what else now? Am I going a little bit off?
Oh, no, it's perfect.
Just ask me questions.
Do you have grandkids?
What?
Do you have grandchildren?
Oh, yeah, I do. Yes, I do. And most of them are boys. In New Zealand, I have 2 in New Zealand, and a granddaughter in Indiana, another one in Africa, and that's it. You know.
And
I have a great grand too.
Oh, awesome.
Caleb, he's a New Zealander. My daughter lives in New Zealand for many, many years.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Isn't that something?
Do you still keep in contact with them often?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, she calls me and Skypes me just real regularly. Yes.
That's awesome. All right, let's see. All right, so you've heard of the assisted living home, of course, yeah?
Yes, I have.
All right, so how do you think it will benefit both you and the community?
Oh, at my age, it's going to be one of these days I'm going to have to leave my home, and I need people. And there are people there, and so it's going to be wonderful. Yes, I'm looking forward to it in a way. Yes, yes.
Looking forward to all the community.
Well,
yeah.
the thing is, I really don't like to be alone, and I am alone. I have my dear friend here that keeps me company occasionally, but I do need people, and there, I will have people there. See,
Yeah. All right. So, throughout your life, where have you lived or where have you traveled?
Do you want me to first travel? Well, how about New Zealand? Yes, I've been there about 7 times.
Oh wow! Yeah.
Yes, yes. We go by plane, of course, you know. My daughter lives there, and her family, you know. She didn't marry a New Zealander. She married a young man from here, but he did get a position at the university. teaching. He's an economist, and so
Oh.
that's what. And she teaches music,
Mm-hmm.
piano. You know.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's lovely. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Right. So you've traveled, correct? Mhm.
Well, yes.
So,
there,
do you have
yes.
any favorites of places that you've traveled?
Oh, I don't know. I think New Zealand.
New Zealand,
It's a
yeah.
beautiful place to live.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
People are friendly and it's nice.
Mhm. Mhm. Let's see. All right. Is there anywhere that you've always wished you could have gone throughout?
Spain.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yes. As my lineage goes to Spain.
Mhm. So, in your future, what are you looking most forward to?
Oh, tomorrow. Yes.
Mhm.
Yes, I'm certainly. I look forward to tomorrow. Yes, I do. But as far as people, my family, of course, my good friend Peggy, so you know, my son in Bobo, and grandchildren, and friends, you know. Yes.
So, between our generations, what do you think the greatest thing that your generation could teach mine to make us better?
Oh, that's interesting. Follow those 10 Commandments.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Follow those 10 Commandments and treat other people like you like to be treated. That's important. Really is. I've learned that
Definitely.
even in my older years too, you know how important that is. Respect others. Yes.
Is there anything else that you think our generation could use, or just any favorite quotes or anything?
In favorite what?
Favorite quotes or anything?
Oh, favorite quotes. Let me think. Well, there's an awful lot in the Bible, isn't there? Love your neighbor as yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Treat other people like you like to be treated. Yes. Love life as I do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to tomorrow and the next day. At 90, how old am I? 92?
3.
93. Yes. And I love life with a passion. I
That's
do.
absolutely amazing.
Oh, I do. And I can still play the piano. As a matter of fact, I was playing for Peggy. You know, I
It's
taught her to play.
amazing.
You know, and then she went on to get her degree, you know, in music. But anyway, so what else?
Let's see.
How important is it?
Alright, so you do talk to your family often, but how much do the phone calls and conversations with them mean to you?
Everything. Especially my daughter in New Zealand. She Skypes me almost every day. And if we can't get on Skype, then she'll call me, you see. My son lives in Pueblo now. However, he did live in Africa for quite a number of years. Yeah, he is a, what is he? An
Minister.
agronomist. He's
Well,
an
and he's
agronomist.
retired
Yes,
minister.
he's retired now, but that's what he taught in Africa through the Methodist Church.
Wow.
And of course, he's an ordained minister. Yes.
So in your life, you had many jobs, I'm guessing?
Any what?
What jobs did you have throughout your life, and did you have a favorite?
A job. I haven't really worked out that much. I did work in a music store when I graduated from high school and loved it. I certainly did. I was right in my environment, you know.
And
Yes.
Eileen, you taught everyone in town how to play
Well,
the
I
piano.
taught. Yes, I taught music. Oh, yes. Yes, I taught piano for many, many, many years, and she was one. And she went on to get her degree in music. Isn't that
That's
something?
amazing.
Yes. We were just playing, or I was playing, and she was asking me for duets, you know, so we could play together, and I couldn't find the book, but I will, so we can enjoy.
That's awesome. Do you have any other
I
questions?
just want to share with you what we did this a month ago. We went over to Mission Wolf,
Oh, wow.
and she had a wolf come up and give her a kiss.
Oh, that is so cool.
Isn't that so cool? She's fascinated with wolves.
Oh, well, after we're done, I'll show you my book on, well, I've got about 3 books on wolves. Shall I go on about wolves or not?
Yeah, sure.
Well, I've discovered what beautiful creatures they are. They're beautiful parents. When a mother loses the little one, the pack will take care of the little one, you
Mm-hmm.
know. You know, it just fascinates me. I can't get enough reading about wolves.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and we did go to the wolf
Mission Wolf.
refuge or whatever, and I got kissed by one.
You did.
Not really, but it seems like he's giving me a kiss, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I think a number of people have seen it on TV
Facebook.
or Facebook. Yes, it was. Yes. You know, my daughter did in New Zealand, even. You know, so.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Yes, but I will tell you, I love life with a passion, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow and tomorrow, and you know, at 92. Am I 92?
93.
93. I keep asking. Maybe I won't. Oh my goodness, we tend to be a little forgetful. So, yeah. I still think I'm 60 or 50,
Yeah.
but I really feel.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel 92. I really don't. I read a lot, still can play the piano, and you know.
The
just,
one, talk about your genealogy study.
oh my God, yes. My genealogy goes back to the 1300s,
Wow.
documented. Hey, we go back to the 1300s, but you got to document it. And so most of my
Yeah.
genealogy is documented. There's Spanish, English, Irish, and a strain of Indian.
Oh, wow.
Yes. You know, and my father was very, very Castilian. A mother, the English-Irish strain of Indian comes from my mother's side. By the way, I've done my DNA too, so it all
Yeah.
shows there.
And when were you born?
24, November 30th,
wow.
1924,
And where was that?
Walsenburg.
Oh, awesome.
See, my father in Walsenburg, my mother here.
Mm-hmm.
Mother, she graduated from high school in 1921. Yes, I was just, see, that's all her handwriting there. She writes beautiful, she has beautiful thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
So I come from a family with a mother with beautiful thoughts. And Daddy loved my mother. We came from a beautiful family, 4 girls.
Oh, wow.
No boys, 4 girls. I'm the oldest. 2 have passed away. The oldest and the youngest are still living. And my young sister lives in Colorado City.
Oh.
It's June. And what else?
Is there anything else you want to say, Eileen?
Well, it's really interesting that mother was born and raised here, graduated from high school here, and now I'm here. And I just know, sometimes I just feel that presence
Yeah,
of my
yeah.
family. My grandparents had a ranch that direction, and she always told me so many wonderful stories of going to school here and being raised here, you know, so, and to think that I'm here now, you know, it's just...
Just following in her
It's
footsteps.
wonderful.
I have
It's
a question
wonderful.
I've never asked Eileen. What do you think's changed the most about La Vida from the time when you were young?
Well, but I will tell you this. I think we need change, don't we?
What do you?
We do need.
Yeah.
We do need change. What has changed? The school is still here. That mother graduated from high school in 21. I think it's inevitable. Changes take place. I think people's values and things like that, which are good. I'm not saying they're not, but it's a little different. I don't know that is there the friendliness that there used to be, you know? I can remember some of the old timers telling me here about going to each other's houses and just having more fun, you know. I don't know. It's just inevitable. There's going to be changes, as it should be, I guess, you know, for the better, we hope.
Oh, yeah.
You know? But La Vida is, I think, a very safe community to live. Really, it's just lovely here, and to live right at the foot of the Spanish Peaks. You've heard of the Spanish Peaks, of course, the 2 peaks. Oh gosh, that's just wonderful when it can happen. Oh yes, and
How do you think technology has changed things since when you were younger and now?
it has. Of course, it has. I can still remember television. You know. We have to depend on radio so much. Is that what you're talking about, technology? Yeah. And but I really noticed that an awful lot. I used to listen to the radio so much so very much. And Ma Perkins, I remember, and some of these, stories, and then television, arrived, and I can still remember having a company coming that didn't have televisions. That's when we lived in the little Spanish-style house there. They used to visit us because they loved to watch. Walt had a small little television set, And we learned an awful lot on TV, though, that were always programs that we didn't quite get on radio, So it's changed. It's changed. I'm not going to say for the better, but it's changed. It certainly has.
But Skyping Laura has been
What was that?
Skyping Laura.
Oh my goodness gracious! I can't believe it. I can't believe there's such a thing as Skype. I can see Laura and what she's doing, and and her doggies, her 2 little doggies, and Bert once in a while, and it's utterly amazing to me that I could never quite understand how that's possible. Really, it's just But it's wonderful, though. It really is. And once in a while, Bucky will Skype me. He lives in Pueblo, but if he needs to let me know something, that my son was a Methodist minister too at one time, and went to Africa. He and his wife as missionaries there, So my family have really, and then my daughter. Oh my goodness, boy, my kids have really experienced life. They have much more than I have even. Can you imagine Africa, New Zealand, and oh my gosh, France, And I'm so happy for them that they have been able to do so much more than I've always lived here, and of course California, and Oregon, and back east, but not really like they have experienced, I've been to New Zealand though, but. Probably will go one more time. Peggy would like to go. She'll love it there. She'll love it. Everybody wants to move to New Zealand. It's wonderful. But anyway, so.
Do you have anything else to add?
Peggy, is there anything else I need to
think
add
so.
to it?
I think you're good.
Yes. I will say this. I love life with a passion. I will tell you that. I look forward to tomorrow. How much longer I'm going to live? I'm 92 now. But I'm going to make the most of every day. I certainly am, and learn something about wolves.